Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track called Better Off, I Remember Those Times by Buddy Greenbloom. And if we switch over to here, we have it on Spotify. And if we look over here, basically we have the track that we're listening to today, and then we have My Little Underground, which appears to be a CD that was released in 2003. So this is Buddy Greenbloom's second release 19 years later. So that's exciting. Actually, I haven't really listened to many artists who have that sort of gap between the music that they put out into the world. Obviously, the music industry has changed a lot over that time. It's going to be interesting to listen through this track and hear what we think. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, is that some DI'd guitar?
Will I remember
That wow. What is that instrument there? That's a slide guitar, isn't it?
when we could smoke in bars? I remember when we could drink in our cars. I remember a time we painted the town red.
Sort of a sense of nostalgia for those times by the sound of it, given the way he's singing these lyrics. It's there's sort of a romanticism to it, you know? Oh yeah, again, a lot's changed between like 2003 and 2022. The guitar is a nice accompaniment.
Those times better off than dead. Better off here playing than away in jail. Better off straight living than a will to fail. Better off. I remember those times.
We got an interesting style of vibrato there. I dig it. It's distinct. And it fits well with this country vibe with these slide guitars that come on either side and automate between the two. By automation, I mean like from the post-production standpoint, how it's being stereo panned. I know this is an acoustic analog performance. And I'm enjoying the way that the strumming of the rhythm guitars is just a nice accompaniment to the vocals. It's cool.
I remember
Oh, the drums.
times
Sick.
At the campground at dawn. I remember the times we rolled on the lawn. I remember the times we spent with nothing said.
Okay.
I remember those times better off than dead.
The drums are fairly minimalist. They work well with the multiple guitar layers that we have going on here. I think it's a nice combination. It's very warm sounding. It does sound like something you listen to off an LP player.
Better off here playing than away in jail. Better off straight living than a will to fail. Better off. I remember those times.
Better off, I remember those times. So are they better times then, I suppose? It's kind of longing for that, going back to drinking in the car and rolling around in the grass and just having fun and things being a bit more peaceful. Guitar solo, eh? Wasn't expecting this, although it's the, we are onto the second verse part, aren't we? No, we're past the second verse. This is obviously where typically you'd have an interlude.
I remember when the world was mine. I could play in the street and not get a fine. I remember those days we just laid in bed.
The guitar is quite, the piano is quite loud in the mix. I don't think it's too loud, but it's very present, and I think the placement of it, not being behind the vocals, was a deliberate and a smart idea.
I remember those days
Oh.
better off than dead.
Okay, that's okay. No, the master chain helps a lot with it. It's good.
Here playing than away in jail. Better off straight living than a will to fail. Better off. I remember those times.
It's nice to have that octave harmony going on with those backing vocals, and I think that having the piano coming into this point was a smart idea. A little bit of additional gradual texturing going on.
I remember that dawn, you slipped out of sight. I searched and I searched, but it just wasn't right. I remember your smile, like a ghost in my head.
Remember that smile like a ghost in my head.
I remember your touch, better off than dead. Better off.
I remember that touch better off. Is it better off than then or back then?
Here playing than away in jail. Better off straight living than a will to fail. Better off. I remember those times.
There's a repeat of the phrasing, the rhythms associated with it. The typical 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 groove is there. Most of the instruments are respecting that really well and accompanying it. The chord progressions within this track are fairly conservative. We don't have a lot of sort of chromatic or semitonal stuff going on. We're keeping it fairly safe, even with a we're avoiding the pentatonics as well, which is interesting. Or we might not be.
I remember those times.
No, we are using some of the relative blues and country scales involved in this.
I remember those times.
Really subtle lead work there. I enjoy that bit of ornamentation there.
Better off. I remember those times.
Okay, I liked that. I think that was a well-written song because this is the conclusion. I enjoyed listening to Buddy Greenbloom play and sing. The performance was solid, but we'll go with the story first. We'll do it bit by bit. So the story, as I understand it, is I think I mentioned throughout. I think it was someone looking back at previous times in their life, getting nostalgic for it, coming to terms with what transpired, and maybe comparing it to their life now, and they kind of miss it a little bit, you know. I talk about ghosts of the past and everything like that with the smiles and the touches and everything. I think it's something that a lot of people will be able to relate to. I think the song will have people that will appreciate it for that. What also will help people to like it is the fact that the vocals were sang really well. They were sung really well. The guy's got great vocal technique. I don't think we would have needed to have done more with the vocals. There was that gradual development of vocal harmonies and double tracking and all that. And as far as I'm aware, there weren't any bits where I was like, oh, why did we sing that note there? Or why did we do that melody line? We kept it, again, very conservative. Very conservative? I'd just say conservative. We kept it conservative with the vocal melodies in addition to the rest of the elements of the harmony and arrangement. We weren't trying to be off-putting, I think, at any point. This music had those traditional major minor triads with some slidey bits, kind of interesting lead parts, but they were subtle. Aside from in that solo section, the structure of the song again was that verse chorus kind of groove there with the solo section in the middle, and then another verse and another chorus, and then another extension of the hook at the end. And that was us done, man. That was 4.5 minutes, and to be fair, that was a lot of real estate, and I think that we used that well. I don't think we could have gotten away with any more than this. I think this tale was told really well, and I appreciate that we probably needed another verse to kind of come to more of a specific understanding of the thing that prompted Buddy Greenbloom to make this song in the first place, or rather, some of the clarification on the main themes. The guitar parts, drums, bass, and the piano parts. I mentioned the pianos being a little bit loud. They just sounded very present in the mix, and these headphones are notorious for picking up when something's just it's in your face a bit, you know. That's going to be subjective to the different ways that people listen to their music on, and I'm not saying that it's too loud, it's just that it took me by surprise with where it was in the mix and how it was leveled in the production part of it. But the arpeggios worked nice, little those parts worked well with the guitar, bass, and drums, and I'm glad that we put that in regardless of how I feel about the leveling of it. The production, the recording, mixing, and mastering was well. was well done. You know, the instruments were EQ'd superbly. There was dynamic range to this recording. I liked the different loudnesses with the different guitar layers, and I think that the vocals were compressed enough for them to stay where they needed to be the whole time without crushing everything else, and that's a really delicate balancing act. But I think Buddy Greenbloom and co handled that really well. The compression made the overall recording really, really loud, which I appreciate, and I've got really nothing further to really sort of complain about. I think for the most part this track was done sensationally well. I am starting to become more and more familiar with this sort of country acoustic genre of music as I've done these reviews for like a couple of years now, and this is up there. You know, this is up there. All of it made sense as a whole. There was no moment listening to this track where I was like, wait, why did that instrument come in there? Why was that word spoken there? I think that this was a single meant to appeal to people who are into country music and the like. It was a very friendly, warm introduction to it. I really hope that Buddy can find some success for this tune, as I think that he deserves it, and whoever else was involved in it. So well done to Buddy Greenbloom on this track. Thank you for watching this review of Better Off, I Remember Those Times. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Buddy Greenbloom some love via his various social medias and Spotify page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.